Hi, this is James with FluentGreekNT.com, the missing piece in New Testament Greek learning. In my last video, I covered the number one thing you need to learn to read the Greek New Testament, and that's motivation. Now, if you haven't watched that video, I strongly encourage you to, because it really is fundamental and it applies to all of life. At the end of that video, I said I'd follow it up with the video on habits, which is probably the second most important thing, installing good study habits in your life. But something has come up in my life that I think illustrates both motivation and habits well, and I wanted to go ahead and share that with you. So hopefully it doesn't show up on camera, but I need to lose 10 to 15 pounds, and that's one of my goals for 2023. I've been watching YouTube videos on weight loss, reading articles, and brushing up on nutritional info of my foods and so on. And it struck me that success and failure in weight loss looks very similar to success and failure in learning biblical Greek. So let me explain. So starting with weight loss, imagine you went up to the average person on the street and asked them if they would like to be healthier and lose some weight. So assuming they're not horribly offended and would speak with you, most people are going to say, yeah, I would like to lose some weight. But what would you expect to happen if you followed up with them a year later? Frankly, most people are going to have gained weight over that year. So the opposite of their desire is what's going to actually happen. Now let's talk about Greek. So let's imagine you visit a devout Bible study of 20-somethings and ask them if they would like to be able to read scripture in the original languages. Many, if not most, are going to say, yeah, that would be really cool. I would love that. So how many are actually going to do that? Virtually none of them. Now, to elevate that even more, what would happen if they spent several $1,000s on Greek courses? So let's say took 9 hours of Greek in seminary. How many of them are going to read the Greek New Testament? Very few. So the question is, why, when we have these good desires, do we not follow through with them in our lives? Because ultimately all the tools and resources and videos are useless if we don't actually apply them in our lives. Well, let's think about it. Is it knowledge maybe? Do we not know how to do these things? Well, starting with weight loss, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's been studied from every angle. We know how to lose weight. It's very obvious, so we just don't do it. And with Greek, by far the most popular video on this channel is my video on the best biblical Greek resources. And if you haven't watched that, basically I say that there's never been a better time to learn Greek. I learned 20 years ago, and the grammars and the lexicons and so on are so much better than when I started out. And also technology allows us to go way beyond the books. So FluentGreekNT.com allows me to give you helps that are simply unavailable with a book. So it's not knowledge, it's not tools. What is it? Well, let's first consider motivation. So with weight loss, I have this motivation to be healthy and lose weight. Unfortunately, I have opposing motivations that go against that. So I have the desire, the motivation to eat pizza and cheeseburgers, and frankly, to snack mindlessly even when I'm not enjoying what I'm eating. And that motivation and those habits overcome and render null and void my motivation to be healthy. And what about Greek? We have this good desire to study scripture deeply and to teach it accurately. And yet, basically life gets in the way. So think about the average person's day. So you wake up in the morning, get ready for work, commute to work, work 8 hours or so, commute home, hopefully hang out with friends and family for a bit, eat some dinner. So by that point, it's like 7 p.m. By that point, you're kind of tired and you just want to veg out on the couch and catch up on your favorite show, watch a game or some highlights or cat videos or whatever you're into. Now, there isn't much space in that day for foreign language study, and so it doesn't happen. When people cancel their Fluent Greek subscriptions, they tell me why, and the number one reason is time, they say. Now, I don't know people's lives, and I'm not here to judge anyone, but I'm going to submit to you that time is almost never the reason, actually. So, if you're a medical resident working 100 hours a week, if you've got 6 kids and are working 2 jobs to support them, fine, you absolutely don't have time. Go hang out with your family and rest. But the rest of us, we're awake, let's say 16, 17 hours in a day, and we need to find 20 minutes to study Greek within that time. So we're burning 20, 30 minutes doing other things, but we're choosing not to study Greek. Now, you can make that choice. Again, there's no judgment here. But if we're going to solve problems, we need to be honest about what our difficulties are. So it's not because we don't have time. It's because we're motivated to do other things and we don't have the habits to fulfill our good desires, right? So what do we do about this? Well, the number one thing, really maybe even more fundamental than motivation, is just living intentionally. So we have these obvious good desires. So to be healthy, let's say, or to study scripture deeply. But if we don't live intentionally, they're actually not going to happen in our lives. Life will go by and we'll kind of live at the lowest common denominator. And so what we need to do is set the intention in our lives to keep our motivation high. So with weight loss, maybe weigh yourself every day, look in the mirror, test out your fitness, whatever, and then have good habits. So when you're at the grocery store, don't buy the junk, buy good things, meal plan, whatever you need to do. I'm not going to get into how to lose weight exactly. So the same thing with Greek. So keep your motivation high, keep the value of scripture before you, set your intention regularly, and then have good habits. So let's say you wake up in the morning, pray for 10 minutes or so, and then pull out your phone, go to FluentGreekNT.com, read 10 Greek sentences. If you don't know the words, click on them, review the paradigms of those words real quick, and then move on with your day. And then maybe at lunch, you've got 10 minutes or whatever. So do the same thing, FluentGreekNT.com, read 10 Greek sentences, and then move on. And then let's say you're waiting around. So instead of getting on YouTube and watching a video or TikTok or whatever you're into, again, FluentGreekNT.com, read some Greek. And then maybe on the weekend, you could do slightly longer sessions, whatever is workable in your life. But set the intention, install the habits to do it. So again, if you haven't watched the motivation video, I recommend that you do that right now. And then if you want to be reminded or notified when the habit video drops, please subscribe to the channel. See you next time.